Last week, 5 Points Vids released a video titled, "Why Has Kicking Gotten So Bad in the NFL?" And my first thought was, has it? I mean, it is true that kickers missed more field goals from beyond 50 yards in 2016 than any other season in NFL history. As a result, teams tried fewer field goals from beyond 50 yards in 2017 and are on pace to try even fewer in 2018. But as you can tell by the intentional cherry picking of data, there's more to this story than just that. This is Sam from Trash Talk, and today I am telling you why kicking has not gotten so bad in the NFL. Before I get too deep into the weeds here, I have to thank the people over at ProFootballReference.com. If you're a stats guru like me, Pro Football Reference, along with the whole family of sports reference websites, are a goldmine of statistical information for football, baseball, basketball, hockey, and even the Olympics. Whenever I do research for a video, there is a good chance that I'm going to spend a lot of time at one of the many sports reference websites. So if you're a stats guru like me, or you just want to know who led the NFL in rushing yards among quarterbacks in 2018, Sports Reference family of websites is the perfect source for you. Hashtag not sponsored. Going back to 5 Points Vids, the first thing that he mentions is that kicking has not gotten worse. And despite the clickbaity title, which I'm guilty of myself, he's absolutely right. He mentions how field goal percentage has improved by 0.1% since last year, which is well within the margin of error, but it's even better than that. Compared to 1994, which is as far back as Pro Football Reference's Play Finder goes, field goal percentage has jumped from 79% to 85% in that time span. But it gets better. Field goal attempts, on average, are longer than they were 25 years ago. In 1994, the average field goal was 35.4 yards, whereas this season, the average field goal is at 38.4, a full 3 yards further away. For further proof, in 1994, only 48 field goals were attempted from over 50 yards away. After only 13 weeks of games, we already have 93 such field goals, on pace for 124 in 2018. But when you break down the field goals by range, whether they're in the 30-yard range or the 40-yard range or the 50-yard range, it makes the improvement of kickers even more apparent. NFL kickers are more accurate from within 40 yards today than J.J. Redick is from the charity stripe. Field goals from 40 to 49 yards out are good nearly 80% of the time, while field goals from beyond 50 are good 2/3 of the time compared to less than half the time back in 1994. In the video, he says it feels like kickers are worse because kickers are saving all of their misses for one game. But that's just a perception, not shown in real data. So far this season, there have been 13 games where kickers have missed multiple field goals, compared to 18 last season and 23 in 2016. Each of the past 4 seasons, we've witnessed 2 kickers miss 3 or more field goals in a game. He follows it up with, quote, "Teams assume that once a kicker's confidence is gone, it's gone for good." And it usually is. He cites Blair Walsh's drop in production after his missed field goal in the 2015 playoffs against Seattle. However, there are several examples of kickers going on to have excellent careers after one horrendous outing. In week 3 of the 1994 season, Jason Hanson, in only his 3rd year in the league, missed 3 field goals against the Cowboys, including one that would have won the game in regulation. Despite this, Hanson would go on to play in 2 Pro Bowls and currently has the 4th most points scored in NFL history. Alright, maybe you need a losing effort. In his 2nd ever NFL game, Adam Vinatieri went 1 for 4, all of his misses coming from within 50 yards, as his Patriots would lose to Buffalo. Vinatieri would also have 2 more 3 missed games in 1998 and 1999. Despite all of this, he has earned 3 All-Pro selections, 4 Super Bowl rings, and as of 2018 is the all-time leader in points scored in NFL history. You need a more recent example? How about Stephen Hauschka, who went 0 for 3 indoors against Arizona back in 2014. Since laying a goose egg, Hauschka has made 90% of his field goals and is the 2nd most accurate kicker in NFL history. 5 Points Vids goes on to talk about the history of kicking, which is an excellent segment and deserves a like, share, and subscribe, like all good YouTubers are going to ask you for. He goes on to mention why he thinks kicking has improved and discounts the indoor-outdoor factor because just as many games are played indoors as they were back in 1987. And he's absolutely right. There are about as many teams who play indoors as outdoors. Ratio's about the same. But I had to ask, are kickers really better indoors than outdoors? To find out, I looked at how kickers did away from home only. This method will prevent excellent kickers like Atlanta's Matt Bryant from skewing the stats for indoor teams. And it turns out that kickers are 1.7% more accurate when playing indoors than they are in the elements. But that raises another question. What about Denver? Surely we see the impact that playing baseball at 5,280 feet has. Wouldn't the same logic apply for kicking a football? So I applied the same methodology, removing guys who made their home in Denver, like Jason Elam, because the man was an absolute beast when he played. In this case, kickers again had about a 1.7% advantage, pretty much the same as playing indoors. Are there other stadiums that I'm missing? Are there stadiums that are kicker heavens and stadiums that are kicker hells? So, same methodology, but I had to tweak it this time. Remember how I mentioned that kicking has gotten better over the years? Well, newer stadiums are going to have an advantage if they've only hosted games since 2010, as opposed to places like Soldier Field, which has been hosting football since 1924. This methodology involved accounting for the years in which a stadium was active, and again, removing kickers playing at home. Because if I don't, M&T Bank Stadium will look like a paradise because Justin Tucker. I also removed stadiums that hosted games for fewer than 5 seasons since 1994. So, sorry Memorial Stadium, all 3 of you. So, what are the results? To nobody's surprise, 5 of the top 7 stadiums are domes, with Broncos Stadium joining them, as well as the old Riverfront? But what's more interesting is who's at the bottom of the list. Both of the Cardinals' last 2 home stadiums made it, Sun Devil Stadium and State Farm Stadium. There are also several cold stadiums, including First Energy in Cleveland, both Gillette and the old Foxborough in New England, as well as Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, Soldier Field in Chicago, and New Era Field in Buffalo. As you probably figured out pretty quickly, this wasn't a rebuttal of 5 Points vid, but more of a supplement to his video. But it begs the question, if kickers are getting better, then why does it feel like the strategy behind kicking versus punting versus going for it on 4th down hasn't changed in like 40 years? And that's what I'm going to touch on in my next video. So be sure to hit that subscribe button to be notified when that video comes out. This is Sam from Trash Talk. Thanks for watching, and goodbye. Before you go, big thank you to Fernando and Sean for getting me the awesome lighting setup and the backdrop that you saw in this last video. Big thanks, guys. You are the best. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time.